that unfortunately we have not been able to provide jobs, unfortunately we have not been able to control prices, unfortunately the perception of corruption is not being able to be challenged by this government. What does that leave him with? It leaves him with nothing. It leaves him with this fallback attack on Modi.
True.
This message is being diluted by the messenger. The problem is not the message, the problem is the messenger.
He had said we have not been able to achieve our targets.
If you go back, Ms. Joshi, you will see that he said that prices we have not been able to control, jobs we have not been able to...
I sat through the entire... He said we have not been able to achieve our targets.
So did the rest of us, Ms. Joshi.
He was honest. You wanted him to speak the untruth, and then he also said that there was a lot of economic slowdown. International and national forces, the economic slowdown had hampered the growth. And that is why we have not been able to achieve these targets. See, don't try to twist his statements. He made a very candid and factual and realistic statement.
Twisting the statements, Ms. Joshi. You go back and look clearly.
No, Miss Joshi.
Able to provide jobs.
Miss Joshi, Miss Joshi.
I also
Miss Joshi. Tonight, you know what is on test. Miss Joshi, may I come in? May I come in, Ms. Joshi? Can I just say one thing? Ms. Joshi, listen, please, if you just pay attention to the argument that is being put on the other side, Ms. Joshi. Now, there's nobody's putting an argument saying 2002, should be put into the dustbins of history. Nobody can say that. Nobody can ever make a comment like that. In fact, there are a lot of people who believe that it is up to Narendra Modi between now and the elections to come forward with a more complete sense of statement which expresses remorse and regret for what his government did or what his government's role was at that point of time. You will continue to push for that. The question really is about the sincerity of Manmohan Singh. The sincerity of Manmohan Singh when he says that I'm going to say that Narendra Modi is, what was his phrase here? He says Narendra Modi is a person who has, who has presided over a mass murder.
You read the question, Mr. Goswami, first.
Read
the question posed to him.
1 minute. No, I have seen the statement. I have seen the statement. He says...
No, you first read the question.
Please allow me.
You read the question. The question was...
there are times, Rita, Bahuguna, Joshi, if you want to say something, you don't need to be asked a question. The question everyone in India will ask tonight?
The question was...
the question everyone in India will ask tonight?
That there's a perception...
No, the question everyone in India will ask tonight, Ms. Joshi, is this. That where was Dr. Manmohan Singh's... Why did Dr. Manmohan Singh not take on the Narendra Modi or raise 2002 with the same agility, eagerness and enthusiasm during the Gujarat election campaign that he is doing now? Was Manmohan Singh told at that point of time that it is part of Congress strategy not to raise 2002?
The Congress...
Because he didn't say so then.
Congress party...
So no, Manoj, I see your hand go. He didn't say so then. Did he say so then?
Style of politics.
The question is not Narendra Modi's role, no role or whatever role in 2002. The question is the sincerity of the Prime Minister's attack on Modi today.
Well, he has always been saying this.
Ms. Joshi,
taking more notice now. But
Ms. Joshi, 2002, allow me.
Just about a month back,
let's get in Sudhindra Kulkarni.
He had made a very strong statement on the same line.
Ms. Joshi, Meghnad Desai's turn. The question is, if the Prime Minister is sincere, he should have shown the sincerity earlier. Yes, Lord Desai. Lord Desai.
You ask a direct question.
I'm requesting that some of us want to talk. Ms. Joshi is monopolizing the conversation. Ms. Joshi is monopolizing the conversation. Ms. Joshi is monopolizing the conversation.
Go ahead, monopolize it yourself.
Many things to say about other parts of Manmohan Singh. One of the most interesting thing is that for persistent 4-year inflation, you cannot blame outside forces. Outside forces have stopped having inflation 3 years ago. There is no inflation in Europe, there is no inflation in the USA, there is no inflation in commodity prices. So I think one has to say, and inflation is hurting the Congress more than anything else. And I think one really ought to have had a better answer on inflation than we got. I mean, I'm very fond
how
of
sincere, because Sudhindra Kulkarni is out of the debate so far, we'll move to the economy and we'll move to the question of whether the Prime Minister was deflecting everything on the core issues. But Sudhindra Kulkarni, do you think the Prime Minister was completely 100% sincere in raising 2002 today? Or was the Prime Minister using his attack on Modi to deflect attention away from his negative record of UPA 2?
Arnab, it is not fair either to the Prime Minister or to the subject of the debate to make it Narendra Modi centric. In fact, if you watch the Prime Minister's press conference,
the Prime Minister made it Narendra Modi
occupied a very
centric.
small part of the entire press conference.
No, he did not.
No, why didn't you let me speak?
Mr. Kulkarni,
रीटा जी, आप कृपया दूसरों को बोलने दीजिए, नहीं तो आप ही बोल दीजिए.
did not refer to any individual.
Miss Joshi, let him complete. Miss Joshi, let him complete. Let Sudhindra, he's come in late into the debate. Let him make his point. Yes.
This press conference, Arnab, this panel discussion should be conducted in a more more fair manner, allowing others also to speak.
Go ahead, Mr. Kulkarni.
This press conference was about the Prime Minister's nearly 10 years of tenure. And you said, Arnab, you said that the Prime Minister's performance is disastrous. I don't agree. It's not disappointing certainly, but not disastrous. To think that the last 10 years have been only gloom and doom for India is to berate India. It's not just berating a Prime Minister or a particular government. India has made a lot of progress in many areas in the last 10 years. At the same time, the government has also been a failure in addressing several issues. So we need to take an objective, all-sided, comprehensive view of the Prime Minister's performance, the government performance in the last 10 years. Most certainly, the government has failed to contain inflation, price rise, which is hurting the Congress party. The Prime Minister ought to have taken strong and timely action when charges of corruption came up. He failed. Yeah?
So?
Ask me.
Mr. Kulkarni, you are building
I
a
am
very
saying that the Prime Minister ought to have taken strong, timely action.
You are trying to build a very strong case for the Prime Minister.
At the same time, I want to say one thing, Arnab. Please, this is the only time that I've come into the discussion. Please let me speak. On the whole, the Prime Minister came across as sincere as a person in his position can be, as self-critical as he can be, but some of the achievements of this government have been the achievements of India. So let's not berate India. Just as there were failures and successes of the NDA government.
Can I just take I want to take very strong objection, Sudhindra Kulkarni, to your saying that a criticism of a Prime Minister's record, which I repeat again, ask anybody, Mr. Kulkarni, how has the Prime Minister's record been in UPA 2? And anybody will tell you it has been disastrous. Now, if you want to be very kind to the Prime Minister on his day of his farewell
I won't say it's disastrous.
It's your right to show that.
I won't say it is disastrous or not.
But I believe that more than artificial grace. But I believe more than artificial grace, what one needs tonight is honesty.
Arnab,
what I'm saying is that more than the kind of artificial grace which you seek, one needs honesty.
And you should be
Chandan Mitra is coming in to rebut you. One at a time, Chandan Mitra is taking on Sudhindra Kulkarni.
First and foremost, no, I don't want to take on my friend Sudhindra, but I just wish to clarify that Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni, in the public perception, is closely associated with the BJP. He was a national executive member and is also very close to Mr. Advani. And therefore, I need to clarify this, that his views are not those of the BJP. We believe that the Prime Minister has been a complete failure.
I am not in the BJP anymore, so you don't need to clarify this, Chandan.
Arnab has said it in the beginning.
No, wait, let me complete. Yeah, that's okay, but you know,
he's
there's a public
distancing himself from you, Mr. Kulkarni. That's what he's doing.
No, so I want to clarify for your viewers, because many of them don't know that Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni is not in the BJP anymore. Therefore, I needed to clarify this. Number two, I'm astounded that Ms. Joshi has come on to this debate without having read the Prime Minister's script. Now, he has named Narendra Modi. Ms. Joshi, please read that he has named Narendra Modi. He's talked about Ahmedabad. He's not talking about the governor of Gujarat, you see. He's obviously talking about Narendra Modi and then names Narendra Modi and says it will be a disaster for the country. Now, who is he? Who is Manmohan Singh? He has created greater this thing, you know.
He was simply unpacking the charade of a strong leader.
No, but on what basis does it say this will be a disaster? Manmohan Singh has been the biggest disaster. Manmohan Singh has been the biggest disaster, and he cannot comment on others. After Gujarat, after the great success. 1 minute, just let me speak.
1 second.
You are speaking all the time. This is unacceptable.
Manoj, don't come in. Manoj, I'll come to you.
Joshi, you cannot.
Manoj, I'll come to you.
I will not allow you to be heard. If you behave
Joshi, let him complete his point. He heard you patiently. To be fair to him, he heard you patiently. Chandan Mitra heard you patiently. So let him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that the Prime Minister said Narendra Modi would be a disaster for the country. I'm saying Mr. Manmohan Singh has already set such a high benchmark of being a disaster. I don't think anybody can surpass that. On every point, and you know, as Hartosh was saying, on every point, the Prime Minister only saying, I'm sorry I couldn't do this, I'm sorry I couldn't do that. Then what were you doing all this time? I mean, why does somebody become Prime Minister if he fails to deliver? He gets 10 years in office thanks to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. And by the way, he mentions that his greatest achievement is that the differences did not crop up between the Congress president and me. In other words, he thinks that is the high point of his achievement, because after all, he signed on the dotted line every time Sonia Gandhi asked him to do that. So obviously there was no great difference. So are these achievements? And you know, one point I wanted to make towards the end, but I don't know I'll ever get a chance.
I think the issue is very fundamental. No, I think the issue is very fundamental. Today, what is happening in Chandan Mitra?
I can't hear you.
Rita Bahuguna Joshi, 1 minute. Rita Bahuguna Joshi, 1 minute. 1 minute. I find it amusing. I find it amusing, Miss Joshi. Miss Joshi, I find it amusing that today you and Sudhindra Kulkarni also joins you in such a strong, emotionally charged defense of the Prime Minister. You are trying to cover up for the fact that you have just dumped your Prime Minister. You have dumped your Prime Minister. You have dumped your Prime Minister, and none of your defense. You have dumped your Prime Minister after the election loss. You have dumped your Prime Minister because the Congress
party held a press conference. Actually, you're not liking it that he was so candid. You didn't want
third in 10 years.
Him to make
third press conference in 10 years.
He was too. You thought
third press conference in 10 years.
You thought he was too soft to make strong statements.
Hartosh. One second. Rita Bahuguna Joshi. Rita Bahuguna Joshi. After the
inflation, sorry unemployment, sorry everything, and only strong thing comes only when he talks about.
He made a factual statement.
Ms. Joshi, certain facts in history.
Country wants an explanation. Why have you failed? Why have you failed? What business did you have sitting in that office for 10 years and doing nothing? And at the end of 10 years, your farewell speech, you say sorry. 10 years is a long time in a country's history. Unemployment has grown, inflation is galloping, and you say, I'm sorry, I couldn't do anything.
Hartosh,
what kind of
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to issues of where he says, I'm sorry, I did the things right, my government did things wrong. Because like the Congress party is distancing himself from the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister is distancing himself from his own government.
He didn't say
that. But Hartosh, let's get facts right. In September 2013, Manish Tiwari says the Congress party will fight the next Lok Sabha elections under the leadership of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. Is it a fact or not, Hartosh, that the Congress party has dumped the Prime Minister, especially after the election loss? However polite they may try to be tonight about it.
Well, I think this was sort of Manmohan Singh last hooray. I think he will be used as a cheerleader to criticize Modi. But his public credibility is so low that he cannot be an effective campaigner in these elections. The problem is that people cannot believe him. When Mr. Kulkarni says that his sincerity was evident, I'm amazed, because there is a point in his statement or in an answer to the question where Manmohan Singh actually says that the Spectrum, the Colgate, all have been forgiven by the people because they voted UPA 2 into power. That is sheer hypocrisy. You know?
Ridiculous.
People didn't even know about these scams when they voted in.
It's a ridiculous comment.
And by that same logic, Narendra Modi has been voted to power 3 times after the riots. Your sins of the past do not go away because people have voted a certain way. I think Manmohan Singh, from this point on, if this is the defense he mounts of corruption, is going to be a disaster. I think the Congress realizes that.
Yeah.